Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm American, so I can say y'all. No fakies out there. Anyways, this is a video about Valentine's Day. I know that it's a little weird since my YouTube video was about like music, but I feel like I'm gonna use this also as a way to preach encouragement to everybody, because I love Jesus and I love y'all and I love to talk. So you put those three things together and what do you have? YouTube or videos. So yeah, I want to do a video about Valentine's Day because I know how hard it can be for people that are single to embrace Valentine's Day. And I know there's like the cheesy saying, well, like, Jesus is my man. Well, Jesus is my man, and I'm not kidding. But it's hard to like really, like, I know a lot of people say things, but they don't truly believe it in their heart, right? So I want to do this video about singleness for men and women. So I'm not going to be sexist and just say this is for the women, but it's also for the men. Yeah, so contentment. That's the number one thing I want to talk about. Being single is a very difficult phase because we live in a society where it's like relationship this, relationship that, sex is so awesome, like all of this stuff is like, it glorifies like you having to be with somebody else to be complete. There's only one person that can complete you, and that's Jesus. And this I can say with full assurance because when I wasn't a Christian, I was in lots of relationships, and then when I was a Christian, I was in lots of relationships as well. Lots of, I would say 9 out of 10 of them were bad, but there is one that was good. Like, we had our struggles, but like it was a really great relationship. So yeah, I want to talk about like contentment and why God, one, says like don't have sex before marriage, and two, just like learning like what Paul says, like I have learned to be content in everything. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I mean, that's not the verse, but like it's like the part in Philippians where he talks about. So how do you be content? Well, I'm gonna break it down for you. You can't be content in yourself if you're not firstly trying to grow with Christ, or if you're not trying to put him first, because then you're going to do it on your own strength. And I've tried to do that. I've tried to do the gospel my own way. I've tried to have God love me by my own works, and all that did was make me feel like so sad and upset. And well, I mean, like 3/4 of the Bible talks about like how like you can't work for God's love. Like false teaching is like so largely spread in a lot of churches, and like the only thing that you can do is just to put God first. You can't like have him love you any more than he already does. So yeah, like the number one thing is like you gotta learn to put God first, because you can't actually be content or love yourself if you don't love God first. You know, the first commandment is to love the Lord with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and then to love your neighbor as yourself. But you can't love your neighbor without loving you, right? So you gotta like love God, love you, and then love your neighbor, and then like love your spouse or whatever. So yeah, just learning to be content. This has been a journey for me because I'm 19 and I've been in a handful of relationships, and I thought that I needed a man to completely, but all that has done is like literally take me to all these different places, bring me into sexual morality, bring me into lying, bring me into just like a lack of self-confidence, bring me into like a place far from God. Like all my relationships I've done with men have literally just destroyed that internal godly confidence that God has put in me. And I mean, like not every relationship was bad. Like I had one that was awesome, and so I'm going to continue to talk about contentment, but like the first step, like when you want to be with someone, is you cannot be with someone if you are a believer. So if you're an atheist or whatever, that doesn't apply to you, but you can always listen, is do not be with somebody that hates the presence of God. Because even if you try, like even if you try to bring them to church and stuff, if their heart is not set on Christ, just walk away. Honestly, you can try to force it, you can try to pray about it, and like, I mean, there's a verse in the Bible that says like the faith of one person can change the whole household, which is very true. However, that takes a lot of patience, that takes a lot of time, a lot of frustration. So instead of you putting yourself in a relationship like that, avoid it altogether, and that God will bless whoever that person is, or like help that person. God's made himself known to everybody, right? So that person can freely choose to follow God or reject God. It's their choice, right? So I will walk away from that. So I always be with somebody who loves the presence of God, because I had like 9 out of 10 of my relationships, these people did not love God. And me trying to like, it's basically like a string. So like you've got, oh, I've got an elastic, perfect. So this is like you and the other person, this is basically what's happening, right? So there's gonna be like the strain, and you're trying to go this way, like run towards God, and this person is like, oh heck no. And then it's just like the string breaks and you all get whipped in the face and it hurts you, right? And so yeah, always be with somebody that loves God, because from my past experiences, they are not going to lead you to Christ, even if you force them, even if they say they love God, even if they, this is the thing, okay, I'm gonna break it down too. If you're with somebody who says they're a Christian, okay, this is gonna like touch a lot, this is an awkward place for me, okay, even if they say they're a Christian, but do like literally like the complete opposite, and they're not trying to live their life for Christ, and they're just like, there's a huge difference between like living in and struggling with, like, and trying to overcome that. Like, I struggle with lots of things. I have lived in, but right now, like, I'm struggling with. So, like, there's a lot of things that I struggle with. Like, so, for example, I was living in sexual immorality, but now I am struggling with it, like the lust, obviously, all that stuff, but I'm not living in it. So there's, like, two kind of, you know, and you can choose which one you want to live in. This one, you feel stuck and you feel sad and so far from Christ, even though he loves you, and there's nothing that can separate us from his love. And then this one, it's like, well, like, you're trying and you're persevering and you're trying to be a light for other people, yet you're struggling and you're being honest about it. Two completely different lifestyles. And it's really important, like, that the person you're with is trying to, like, push that away, even though if they fall, right? So you always want to be with somebody that is just, always just trying to keep persevering and to keep putting God first in your life, because the person you're with, for ladies, if the guy does not put Christ first, he can't love you like Christ loves the church. And if he don't love you like Christ like the church, it's not patient love, it's not kind love, it's not love that honors God, it's just love that's going to pull you into all of these things. And I'm not saying that, like, the way that the man treats you or whatever should dictate how you treat them or how you should act or, like, how you honor God. That's not what I'm saying, because you have the free will to choose also, so you can't be blaming anybody for your actions. But yeah, just to be with somebody who truly loves God, because it's so easy to say, yeah, I am a Christian, but not actually try to live like one. Or this is where it's awkward, because a lot of, like, people, if you're not a believer and you're watching this, like, hey, I got you, like you saying you hypocrites. Yeah, we are all hypocrites. All Christians are hypocrites. But there are some that are not trying to better their life. And Christ has given us free will. He talks about, like, having good fruit and bad fruit. It's still the same tree. It's still a Christian that he's talking about. He's talking about Christians when he talks about the tree. Christians can have bad fruit or good fruit. Like, for example, when I was out drinking and partying and doing all this stuff, I had bad fruit. It was nasty. And now I'm trying to live a life where I'm putting God first. I'm trying to be patient and kind. And I would say there's much better fruit than being not nasty and gossip and slander. So it's like there's just two different places. And if you are a Christian who is having a really hard time and you're in that place, I'm not trying to put you down. Like, I just got out of that. I was in that for so long. All of that I'm saying is that, like, if you are somebody that truly am trying to better their life, don't necessarily put yourself in a relationship with that person. Like, be there for them and stuff, and God, you know, like, if it's God's will for you both, then that person will, like, run the race as hard as you are. But yeah, basically that's another term. Like, do not be with somebody who is not trying to run the race as hard as you are, because it either will slow you down or trip you up. Yeah, so this has kind of gone a little, you know, like, I'm just all over the place. But yeah, it's like something that I'm really passionate about, because, like, I've always been like, I need a man to completely, but it's like for real, I only need Jesus. And until I can keep just realizing that in my mind and removing all of those bad thoughts and those false things in my mind and those false values, like, I'll never actually be content just being me. And yeah, so just, like, learn to, like, be content in your relationship. Being in a relationship, if that if they don't love God, it's honestly like a waste of time, because I have a lot of friends who are in relationships where the person is like not trying to better their life and they're kind of dragging them down, and like all that relationship is doing is causing stress. And I mean, the biggest thing is like sexual immorality, but like, yeah, stress and anger and just like resentment. And I would much rather be single and content than be in a relationship where I am resentful, getting angry, getting far from God. Well, one, because I've been there, and it really sucks, and it's not fun. It's like you love the person, but like you love God more, obviously. So it's like really frustrating to be in that place, and it's not worth your stress or your time to be in that kind of relationship. If you want to be in that kind of relationship, listen, this is just advice. You can do whatever you want. You do you, boo. You do you. But I'm just trying, for people that are trying to like understand, like, or just want to hear me talk, then welcome to my YouTube. But yeah, so just like I was talking about, like Valentine's Day can be really kind of difficult because it kind of reminds you like, I'm single. It's been like 2 years, or like it's been like 5 months, or it's been like, I don't know, like 10 years. But don't be like ashamed of that. Like, God is building something in you so that when you do meet the person that like God has for you, you're gonna be a tree completely mature, like with patience and kindness and self-control. Can I get an amen? Self-control. Because if you're in a relationship where like you're really having a hard time with sex, it's really difficult to put God first, because you get like this pull and then that pull, like you want to honor God, but you're also like, and so it's really difficult to be content when you're being pulled in two directions. And if you're in a relationship, very difficult. Like I said, I'm not going to preach about something that I haven't been through or I'm not going through. My songs are super raw, they're super honest, and that's why I like sit here and talk about like my past and my currentness on this as well. Yeah, so I've been in a little bit of a journey to like, I like, honestly, it has been great. Like, this is the first time in my entire life where I am so content being single. It's great. Like, I'm going to YWAM, and like I'm training for a triathlon, like doing all of these things. I'm pursuing music, things that I'd like literally never done before. Like, well, I've always been pursuing music, but like doing this YouTube thing is like totally out of my comfort zone. And I'm like, I don't want to use this term, but like I'm a bit of like a daredevil. Like I don't like that term. Okay. I'm a bit of like, I love pushing myself to my limits. I love being courageous, although it's so hard because God always shows himself so faithful. Like, he's already shown himself faithful, but like, it's just like even cooler to like keep doing things for God and like him just like pull me out. Like, it's like God doesn't want to pull you out of a storm. He wants to keep you in it so that he can strengthen you, because a soldier can't get stronger if like he going to the spa all day, he's sitting there like, oh, this is so nice. No. Like, you gotta go to the gym, you gotta grind, you know what I mean? Like, he wants to make you stronger. So yeah, I'm getting sidetracked again. But yes, so this whole video is about singleness, and learning that like it's totally okay to be okay with yourself, by yourself, because Christ completes you. If you put God first, I promise you that he will complete you. He'll take all those things that you desire and he'll put it in your heart. And this is the second part of my whole video, okay? This is as awesome as it can be to be content and everything, there's also like that desire, right, to be in a relationship. God, when he created the world, right, in like 7 days, I think it was like on the 6th day or whatever, or the 7th day. Man, I need to reread that part in the Bible. I'm having a brain fart. God, up until like the 6th or 7th day, basically said like, it is good. Like, the light is good, the darkness is good, the water's good, the stars are good, whatever. He said everything is good, except when he made Adam, and he's like, it is not good for man to be alone. Okay, and that is the first time that God said it is not good. So the thing is, God desires for us to be in a relationship. He knows our heart. He made us that way. He made us, whether it's like just for friends, like he desires for us to be in relationships, and for marriage, he made us like sexual beings, right? So he's so good. I'm just gonna praise God for a minute. He is so good. But yeah, we're gonna go back on topic now. Yeah. So God desires like marriage for us, and I'm going to talk more about marriage and like friendships because this video is about singleness, so it kind of applies with that. God desires for us to be in a marriage, but not in the wrong marriage, right? and one that honors him, because God made marriage to like literally honor him, because marriage is so powerful, like sex is so powerful, and the only container that can keep that in there is marriage. And God created sex, okay guys? He created it, and I know everyone's like, mind blown, but he actually created it, right? So sex is good, but in marriage, because if it's not in marriage, it destroys lives. It's basically like a flood, okay? So water is great, like it can fill you up, it can give you power and energy, it can, like, for barriers or whatever, it can create like a source of energy, right? When it's being turned in those little water mills or whatever. But when it's not in the proper container, it, you know, like a flood, it goes into places you thought it would never be in, and it literally just brings doubt and fear, and like you start lying, like, you know, your mom and dad ask you where you going, like, I'm gonna go have sex. Like, nobody ever says that, right? They're like, no, I'm gonna go read my Bible, or I'm gonna go to the movies. Like, with sexual morality comes like all these other things, right? And it makes you like, if you truly love God, it's like literally like, you're like, why am I doing this to myself? It's like you're punching yourself in your face when you do that. So yeah, like, God desires marriage for us, but within the proper context and the person that you're with. And because if you're in a marriage that, like, the person doesn't love God, as a believer, your whole life is going to be like the biggest decision you make, other than like following Christ, is the person that you marry. Because if you don't marry somebody that loves God, but you love God, you can love them, but and you can love them entirely, but there's always going to be like this pull. You're trying to follow God, you're trying to pull this man to church when you found him at the bar, or you trying to pull this man who says he's a Christian, but yet he like never even like ever shows good fruit or whatever, never has, and it's been like 25 years, and you still trying to see if he's gonna change, but he's not changing, you pulling him, and it's like, when you're getting damaged and ruined, and he's also getting like hurt, right? So it's just like an axe with an axe. Like, good relationships, godly relationships, an axe sharpens an axe. But if you're in a relationship, friend-wise too, where they don't love God, or like they're a Christian but they're not trying to honor God at all, they just want to go out and party and do drugs or do their own thing or whatever, blaspheme Christ, whatever it is, okay? It's like you're the axe and the wood, so you get dull and then they get damaged. So in any relationship that is like this, it's like, don't fool yourself. Like, it is going to hurt both of you, and if you let go, it blesses both of you. So I'm gonna get into that like another time, because that's a whole other topic. Also, I did not come up with this information myself. As wise as I wish I was, I'm not. I have learned a lot of this from Transformation Church and their series called Relationship Goals. It has changed my life. I've watched it probably 3 times, and I love it. Like, you can ask me, like, if you're a friend of mine, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, here she goes again. They're talking about Transformation Church and Relationship Goals. I love that. Like, I go to an awesome church, but I also love watching like other sermons, and this has changed my life. So yeah, this video is mainly also for believers, but if you're an atheist or whatever you believe in, bless you. I hope that this has helped you maybe, but yeah, just learn to be content in your singleness. It's awesome. God will bring you that person when the time is ready, because this is the thing. God is so good that he doesn't want to just throw you into any relationship and you're not ready, and you have those things in your heart that you still haven't dealt with. You have those problems and anxieties you still haven't faced on. You have things that God wants you to do before you get in a relationship. Like, God is like so good, okay? And he wants you to be completely whole when you get into that marriage, right? Because 2 whole people, like, it's just like, it's like that triangle, right, with Christ there, and it's just awesome. It's whole. But if you're like half full and you go with someone half full, like, the tendency is, oh, like, maybe they'll like put up with all my flaws and they'll make me a better person or whatever. It doesn't happen that way, because what you end up doing is you put this person on this pedestal that God can only be on, and try to fill all your needs and like your happiness, and they do something and it makes you sad all day, makes you angry all day, and you're dependent on this complete person to fill you, like they're like your God, your idol, and only God can do that. That's why, like, being content is so important. Like, if you are not content being single, you will never be content in any relationship that you're in, because everything that they do, like, literally will affect you. Yeah, I don't really know where I was going on with that. tend to like talk and forget what I was talking about. But yeah, basically, oh, this is what I was gonna talk about. So when the verse that says like the two become one, like they're your helper. They're not the person that completes you. Only Christ can complete you. But this person that you marry is your helper, right? And a lot of people, like, honestly, like, I got that confused. I'm like, oh, they're gonna fail me. Like, they're gonna be my, like, second half. It's like, well, kind of, but they're your helper. Like, God's always gonna be the one that comes first. If you don't put God first, like, the other person, like, you're not gonna be as patient with. You're not gonna be as kind with. And yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. But yeah, basically, I hope this blessing you. I love the state that I'm in. It's awesome. It has just strengthened me so much, and I'm learning so much. And yeah, I just want to pray for everybody that is having a hard time in their singleness, or is having, you know, struggles or whatever. I'm here for you, and I want you to know that's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, sweetheart. I know this whole video can be like, oh my gosh, like, but listen, Sarah was like 100 years old when she had a kid. God promised that to her like 18 years or 12 years or whatever before. It still happened, but it's in God's timing, right? Because He always knows best. So yeah, I just want to pray for you guys and send you off, and have a great rest of your day. Dear Heavenly Father, I just pray for everybody that is watching, God. If they're in a state of singleness, or if they're in a relationship, or they're engaged or married, or they believe or they don't believe, God, I just pray that you can help them to restore like their confidence, God. Help them to be content in their singleness. Help them to learn to love themselves. I pray that you can help to heal those wounds in their life, and help them to truly love who they are. Because we're all so beautiful. We're all made in your image, and you're beautiful, so that means we're beautiful, God. And so I just really pray for these people that are watching, God, that they can learn to be content in their singleness. I know Valentine's Day can be a really difficult day for people. Even for Christians, like, I'm having, you know, that was like, oh, well, I'm, you know, alone, but I'm not alone. I might be, like, physically alone, but you're always with us, so we're never alone. And it's an exciting time to be single, because it's like, this is where we can really push ourselves to our fullest and our fullest potential. And it's not to say that, like, being in a relationship will necessarily hold us back, but it will if it's not with the right person, right? And if we're not completely content in where we are. So I just pray, Lord, that you can help these wonderful people, God, to recognize that this is a really important state in their life, and rather than rush to try to get to the next one, God, help them to love the one they're currently in. So thank you, God, so much for everything, and I just pray in your name always. Amen. Bye, guys.